have to come on here and do a video like this, but putting my relationship on the internet, I figured I would eventually if it didn't work out. I guess I didn't think it was gonna go like this. No, I'm just playing with you guys. If you guys thought this was gonna be that type of video, it's not. So what's up and welcome back to my channel. This is Kayla Shell and you guys see the title. It's a story time, but not exactly what you guys thought it was gonna be. If you guys thought that I was gonna come on here and I was going to talk about me and Vaughn's personal life and our personal business and try to expose him and put him on blast, then y'all really not understanding me, because no, that's out. I'm not about to go put none of our private business information, none of that, on nothing. So if you guys are wondering what happened, continue to wonder. Vaughn decided that he didn't want to be with me anymore. I'm not his cup of tea, and that's totally fine. You know, we thought that things would be differently. I expected certain things out of Vaughn that Vaughn just felt that he didn't want to do for me, maybe felt as if I wasn't deserving of them, and that's totally fine. I personally am not going to change what I expect from a man or how I expect to be treated for anybody. So Vaughn and I just had to, you know, go our separate ways. No hard feelings or anything. My heart is broken. I really cared about Vaughn, and Vaughn treated me the best out of, you know, any relationship that I have ever been in. The way he talked to me, just the way he valued me as a woman, and just how he made me feel about myself. I never really had a guy just make me feel like, you know what I mean? Like, they just love everything about you all the time. So I am gonna miss him, and I'm gonna miss our relationship and stuff, but all good things come to an end. So all I can do is continue to push forward and be positive. So with that being said, this video is going to be about story time, pretty much all my failed relationships. So if y'all are salty that Vaughn and I aren't together anymore, feel free to go ahead and hit that unsubscribe button. I'm not bothered. My feelings will not be hurt. And for y'all that really fuck with me, let's go ahead and get into this video. And there's gonna be a lot more of these. A lot of wine, a lot of stories, a lot of get ready with me's, a lot more to come. So if you guys are ready for this journey in 2023 and you guys are ready to start it with me, just me, let's go ahead and get into it. If you guys are new to my channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. If you guys are already one of my babes, thank you for being loyal and a part of the fam, and let's go ahead and get into it. All right, first thing first, I need some of my wine, so I gotta remove my Invisalign. If y'all have been thinking about straightening your teeth, there's a link down below in the description. Go ahead and save $100 off of your whole membership. Okay, listen to me and listen to me close. Smile Direct is half the price of Invisalign, and it works, I think, faster, honestly. I've had my Invisalign for a couple months now. I kind of push the process along, but for those of you who feel like you're gonna forget to put them in, you can literally restart your plan. Every time you get off track, every time you forget, you get a cute little case to keep them in, and so on and so forth. I think it's well worth the money. I pay $80 a month to get my teeth perfectly straight. Like, I can't complain. So, toodaloo to those. Link is down below in the description. Get y'all teeth straight. Whew. All right, time for my sip of wine. And I'm glad there's no clock or nothing. Y'all don't need to know what time it is. That's none of your business. Going through a breakup, all right? All right, so I'm gonna start off with my skincare, guys. These are my go-tos, like literally my fucking favorites. If you guys have like acne, whatever the fuck this is, if you guys get chin acne like I do, it's supposed to be cystic acne, like along your jawline and stuff. This shit is fire. Link is down below in my Amazon store, but this one is perfect. So before I start my makeup, I like to make sure my face is sticky, pretty much so the foundation, you know, will apply as good as it can. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off by putting some moisturizer all over my face. This does have like sunblock and SPF in it. All right, perfect. And then when I'm done with that, I like to go ahead and follow up with this willow bark serum. But this is one of my favorite. I just like the way it makes my skin feel after I put it on. It's insane. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the tea. All right, guys, so we're gonna start with my very, very first relationship and why that failed. Honestly, it probably fell because of me, but I don't care. No, I'm not even gonna say that. I just want to take accountability, but whatever. Oh, the wine's kicking in. Let's go ahead and get into the story. So, guys, before you guys try to say that I dated my friend's sister or I dated my friend's brother, my friend was okay with it. I made sure that this was something that she was all right with prior to us ever talking, us ever anything. And with all that being said, y'all, we were kids. We were really kids, so it didn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't thinking of that stuff. So my first boyfriend was my best friend's brother. I had been friends with her from like third grade to like, we were friends for this whole relationship pretty much, honestly. We didn't keep in contact as much as him and I did once they moved, but her and I were friends. And you know what I mean? We started off being friends first. I would be spending the night at her house all the time, and so on and so forth. And it's crazy because she knew I had a crush on her brother. When I would spend the night at her house, I would be so nervous that I literally would not leave her room. If I had to go pee, I would wait for everybody in the house to go to sleep, and then I would go pee because I was so shy. I was so nervous. I'm like, oh my God, her brother is so cute and I have a crush on him and he lives here and I did not know what to do with my little third grade self. So go ahead and fast forward years till like sixth grade. Around this point, I kind of, let her know, like, yeah, I like your brother. Oh, guys, this is my Avon Magic Prime Primer. So I went and I let her know. I'm like, yeah, I like your brother. I kind of been having a crush on him, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I know. She already knew. She wasn't even tripping off it. She was just more like, I'd rather you date my brother and you treat my brother right because I know you than him be with one of these other girls. I really just don't care about him. So I was so juiced. I'm like, perfect. It's all good. But then they ended up moving, y'all. They ended up moving all the way to Ohio. So, Cali to Ohio, and especially being 6th, 7th grade, like, there ain't no long distance relationship. That's not a thing. You know what I mean? Your parents not gonna make sure you go and see your boyfriend. They not worried about none of that. So that wasn't a thing. So they ended up leaving, and him and I kept in contact, for the years in between. He ended up having a baby, and so on and so forth. But it was so crazy because when I graduated high school and I moved back to Sacramento, so did he. So when he ended up moving back to Sacramento, we kind of felt like it was perfect timing. God, why did you have me tricked like that? Because that was not perfect timing. He definitely was a relationship I should have avoided. Although it sounds like glitz and glitter right now. Y'all know. So we ended up thinking that, it's just perfect timing, so on and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and use this L'Oreal True Match foundation. I like to use it in a color that's a little bit tanner than my face because when I follow up with my actual foundation, it's going to be a little bit lighter. All right, so back to my story. So when I came back to Sacramento, he came back at the same time. We had both just graduated high school and stuff. He was like a year older than me, so he had already been graduated for a little bit longer. So et cetera, et cetera. We both ended up coming back to Sacramento, and we're like, you know what, this is kind of like perfect timing. Let's go ahead and talk to each other. Like, we always wanted to, talk and have our situation, but we never did because he ended up moving. So we did that, and at the time, I was living with my grandma, and I had this is like summer of 2015. So I had lived with my grandma for a couple of months, and my grandma ended up passing away the day after Christmas in 2015. So I lost my grandma, whom I was staying with at the time, and I just, I had to move out, obviously. So right prior to her passing away, I had got an apartment, or I applied for an apartment. I didn't move in yet or anything, which was crazy because my grandma was trying to talk me into not getting the apartment because she's like, you're gonna move out and not be with me anymore. Like, my grandma really loved my company in the house with her and driving her places and helping her with stuff. So when she found out that I was gonna move, she's like, what? So, I ended up I was going to change my mind, but I ended up keeping it, and I'm so thankful I did because my grandma ended up getting sick and she passed away. And I had to move out of the house because my uncle ended up purchasing it. So with all that being said, I got my first apartment while we were talking. So he ended up, he was living with his grandma at the time, and he ended up having to leave his grandma's place at the same time. Should have known that was a setup. Who knows what happened there. Not even gonna get into it. So that was really interesting. I'm using the stippling brush, guys, to continue to put the rest of my foundation on to be so solid with you guys. I normally use a beauty blender, but I don't feel like getting up to go get it. So I want to see how well I can do with these brushes. And I knew I heard Mozzie's disgusting fucking voice. I don't fuck with Mozzie at all. I don't gangbang, but I don't fuck with Mozzie. All right, back to my story. All right, so yeah, I got my first apartment, and he was like, you know, having to move out of his grandma's house at the same time. So he ended up moving in with me, and we lived together for about 4 or 5 months. And then I had found out that maybe 2 months after he moved in with me, he started cheating. And it was insane because, you guys, I'm so fucking understanding. And sometimes me being understanding is just me being gullible and stupid, and I'm not thinking. And he, like I told you guys, he had a baby early. So since he had a baby early, I was understanding that, you know what I mean? He didn't really get to live his young years, like his, you know, 16, 17, 18, like he should have been able to, because he had a baby. So he was saying that he wanted to go clubbing with some of his coworkers, and they had this under 21 night on Wednesdays, and he wanted to go every Wednesday with his coworkers. So I'm hella easygoing. I'm not tripping. You tell me where you're going, I'm not gonna trip. So I'm like, okay, cool. Remember, he came home one night and was like, hey, I have to switch my shoes. Can you bring my shoes to the door? Like, yeah, honey, no problem. Brought his shoes to the door, etc., etc. Fast forward a couple months later, y'all. He was going out with a girl every night, or every Wednesday night, taking her to dinner. The girl had spent the night at his mom's house. They were spending the night at his mom's house. When he came to my house to get those shoes that time, she was outside in the car waiting for him. And just so on and so forth. It was a bunch of grimy stuff. He would step outside to take phone calls and tell me it was his aunt who had cancer. And I'm just like, okay, cool, you know, go take the phone call. Why would I be tripping? Your aunt has cancer. So, you know, it was a bunch of bullshit. And that was the first thing that kind of taught me, like, niggas ain't shit. Don't really fall for it. And I just was like, whatever. So, like I said, my grandma ended up passing away. Him and I ended up breaking up, obviously. Once I found out that he was cheating, I threw all his shit out. He had to go. I didn't even care about doing anything right or just anything. That had me fucked up. Obviously, there's a lot more that happened, like, you know, in our relationship, but that's gonna make this video way too long that we ain't got time for. On to the next. So, fast forward, like I said, my grandma passed away. And around this point, my grandma passed away, I started feeling like, I don't know, really alone. When I lived with my dad, which is where I lived prior to moving to Sacramento, I had my little sister with me, and me and my sister are 12 years apart. So I was taking her to school, picking her up from school. I was making lunch. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and use this Morphe foundation to kind of like highlight my face, put it in the lighter areas. So I was making my sister lunch, and I was just kind of doing all sorts of stuff. I had somebody like dependent on me. I wasn't used to just making choices for myself and just being completely alone. And honestly, I didn't know what to do. I had a puppy. My puppy had passed away as well. Like, guys, it was just bad time for me. My grandma passed. I moved away from my little sister. My dog died. My boyfriend cheated on me. I was just over it. And if some of y'all don't know, I really, really, really struggle with depression, anxiety, and separation anxiety. So at this time, that was a lot for me to handle. And I was new to my mental health, and I didn't really know how to manage it and how to deal with it. So I guess, just making crazy choices without really thinking. So at this point, I wanted to have a baby. I really wanted a baby because I wanted a purpose to wake up every morning and a reason to be happy about every day that I woke up. Because I don't know, I didn't understand at the time that I needed to just be grateful for the life that God gave me. And now I've managed my depression so much better, where I don't have thoughts like that, where I don't want to be here, and so on and so forth. But it's like, at that time for me, it was just the end of the world. So I wanted to have a baby, and I ended up meeting this guy. I was working at Walmart at the time, and my son's father would come into Walmart every day. Like, he came into Walmart every day for like a week, and he would just do silly stuff to try to get my attention. And he ended up coming in in one day, and he had asked me for my number. And guys, I had felt so bad because when he had first asked me for my number, the day before, he had purchased some Midol. So for you ladies, y'all know what Midol is. So for a man to purchase Midol, you're gonna be like, you have a girlfriend, or you know, what is going on? So when he had asked for my number, I'm like, what do you need my number for? You have a girlfriend? And he's like, no, I don't. And I'm like, you just came in here and you about Midol. A man's not gonna use Midol. Like, what are you talking about? And that's when he informed me that his mom had cervical cancer. And I felt horrible. I'm like, you thought he was cute. Why didn't you just give him your number? Why do you run your fucking mouth so much? So I just was like, oh, it was so awkward. I just shut up and I wrote my number on the back of this receipt and I gave it to him. And that was the start. So after that, he would pull up to my job and, all right, guys, I'm gonna use this banana powder now. Actually, I lied. I'm gonna go ahead and put this translucent powder on my face, and then I'm gonna hit it one more time with some more foundation. But yeah, so that was when everything started. So he started hitting me up, like asking me if I wanted to smoke all the time and so on and so forth. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, yeah, we could smoke and stuff. So I would go and I would meet him when I get off my shift and I would smoke with him. And we just, you know, we started kicking it and shit was hella cool and stuff. So we started dating. We started dating pretty fast, not even gonna lie. We started dating after like, I don't know, we never really made it official. We were just kicking it all the time. And then he kind of like came and started staying with me at my spot because he was always at my spot. But yeah, so I started just pretty much telling him, I'm all over the place. I started telling him how I was feeling. I was like, you know, my life has changed a lot. I kind of lost a lot and I really want to have a baby. And I understand that we just got together, but I want to have a baby and I'm gonna just get a sperm donor, so on and so forth. If you support it, cool. If not, I understand that, you know, you don't want to fuck with me no more, but this is what I need for my life. Y'all, I was 19. I don't know what I was thinking, but this was my thought process at the time. So just hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. Don't judge me. I don't feel like hearing no comments right now. Just listen. So he ends up telling me that he wanted a baby too. He said he wanted a baby too. Let's just go ahead and have a baby together. Like, he supports his daughter, you know, even though he's not in that relationship, it would be the same for me even if we didn't work out. So if you guys have tried to have a baby with a sperm donor, you know that shit is expensive. So for me, all I heard was baby and save $2,400. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. Yeah. So he ended up, you know, not really being exactly who I thought he was gonna be. My son's father doesn't really, you know, help me with my son the way I would like him to. I'm not going to bash him because I feel that he does the best that he thinks he can do. But personally, I don't think that's the best that he can do. And I don't think, even if that is his best, that it's good enough, unfortunately. So that's just how I feel about the situation. I'm entitled to my opinion. But yeah, so that relationship obviously was ruined because we decided to have a baby way too fucking early. But like I said, y'all, I did that for myself. My son is everything that I needed. My son is my motivation, my happiness, the reason why I wake up in the morning. My son reminds me the reason why I do everything that I do, and I'm trying not to get choked up thinking about it. But my son is the best thing that could have ever happened to me, and nobody and nothing can ever make me feel different. So although that might not have been the perfect way to go about having a baby or the situation in general, that was my story. That's how I went about it, and I don't regret shit because I got my awesome little boy out of it. So on to the next. After that, I ended up, you know, I was single for a while, for a good like 2-3 years, just doing my own thing. I kind of talked to somebody for like 8-9 months. Then after that, I started traveling. I went to Georgia and I ended up meeting somebody, talked to him for a couple months, you know, just was doing my own thing, talking to people, but not taking anything too serious. I was just living life and enjoying me. And guys, that was when the most success happened for me. I was 20, making $5,000+ a month. I had my own place. I had my own car. I was traveling. I could buy whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I started YouTube. I got my first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I started TikTok. I started running it up, and this is 2020. I literally started doing my own thing and had the most growth when I was focused on me and not in a relationship. So I just felt like, you know, that was the best time of my life, honestly, and maybe I need to go back to that, which is why I'm getting to where I'm getting to. So after being single for all that time, I've had this shit forever. I like to use my Anastasia cream contour kit, and I use the dark brown one in the bottom corner. Y'all, I used to get the Anastasia brow like cream, but if you leave it open for too long, it dries out. I didn't like the way that it would get on my eyebrow hairs and like dry and get crusty. This stays wet all day, but it gets dry enough to where you can't wipe it off. I love this so much better. So yeah, I use the contour kit for my eyebrows. I'm gonna finish my other brow, and then I'm gonna come back and tell my story. And finish my brows now. Oh, and I'm gonna tell you guys something that I totally forgot to tell you guys. So I cut up a bunch of different other story topics and I put them all right here. So at the end of this story, I'm gonna choose another one, and that'll be what the next story is about. And if you guys have any other ideas you guys want me to drop into my little pile that I'm gonna select each time, make sure you guys drop it down in the comments. And if I have a story like to go with that, I'll go ahead and add it to my little pile. All right, back to the story now. So I was single for a while, and then a guy that I ended up, a guy that I went to elementary school with ended up like, you know, wanting to pursue me. And it's crazy because he was like, actually I was gonna say I didn't want to get him in trouble, but I don't give a fuck about him. He was my drug dealer. He was my weed man at the time, so he was selling me weed and shit. So like he had been around, but we didn't talk like that. He would always kind of flirt with me, and he was younger than me, so I would just kind of hoe him. And y'all, that is exactly where I should have left him, but it's okay. I decided to be nice, and it was horrible. So this relationship was my first abusive relationship. This individual literally would talk down to me like I was absolute shit, falling out with my L'Oreal powder. This man would talk to me like I was this boy, not a man. This boy would talk to me like I was absolute shit. Would talk about my child. I remember one time he was outside of my front door talking about how my son shits on himself, but never made an effort to help me potty train my child. Like, it would just be all sorts of just disrespectful stuff. He would tell me like I was baggage because I was a baby mama, and that men wouldn't really want to fuck with me because I had a kid, and that was bringing down my worth. Just all sorts of fucked up shit, guys. And nobody is going to make me feel no type of way about my child. My child is a blessing and the best thing that ever happened to me. And anybody who feels otherwise needs to get the fuck on. So that relationship, guys, was horrible. I was in that relationship for a year, almost 2. Initially, it didn't start off like that. It started off really good. I'm gonna follow up with my banana powder now. It started off really good. He was super sweet to me. Like, his family was very welcoming and inviting, and he would help me with my son, all sorts of stuff, babysit my son. Just, he was so sweet. I never would have imagined that he would have turned out to be the person that he really was and the person that he is. So things just ended up, you know, really taking a bad spin, a bad turn. The way he thought about women was fucking insane. He would try to belittle me for all my posts and all my social media, and that was just something that we really didn't agree on. So that was my last relationship before Vaughn. I don't really want to get too into detail about that one, but if you guys do want to hear about my domestic abuse, my domestic violence relationship, my abusive relationship that I was in, that is in this story, so I'll possibly get to it eventually, but that's not really something that I do want to talk about. But that was my relationship before Vaughn. And then getting with Vaughn, guys, obviously, it was like a breath of fresh air. After being with somebody who completely unappreciated me and treated me like shit, to go to somebody who uplifts me and makes me feel beautiful all the time, somebody who always wanted my attention and just to spend time with me and stuff like that. It was so different. So obviously, like, I loved it. I loved how Vaughn would make me feel beautiful all the time. And like in my past relationship, that ex would just kind of tell me how I wasn't good enough because he was into Asian girls and I wasn't Asian, so I just was never really what he wanted. It was kind of like he was settling for me, and he always made it clear that he didn't want to be with a woman who had kids, and he would just make me feel bad, kind of like, you know, I wasn't good enough because I was a mom and because I was trying to make somebody take me serious who didn't have kids. And y'all, fast forward, that individual is now dating or talking or messing with a girl who has 2 kids, lives in the hood, and don't have her shit together like me. So don't let a man make y'all feel bad about y'all situation whatsoever, because trust me, 9 times out of 10, they really mad about their situation. It don't got nothing to do with you or anything that you have going on. I'm following up with my Bare Minerals bronzer now. But yeah, so that relationship was just absolutely horrible. And once I started really, you know, just noticing all the toxic behaviors and what I didn't like and what I didn't deserve, I was out of there. And honestly, that did make it harder for anybody else that I decide to date after that relationship, because I know what I won't tolerate from a man. And that's with anything. I know that I want someone who's going to open my door every single time. I don't give a fuck if that takes an extra 10 seconds out of everything that we do. I want somebody who's going to put the effort into opening my door each and every time that we go somewhere, letting each and every person who sees us know that he got a real woman, he got the real prize, so on and so forth. I want someone to make me feel like I'm a queen. I don't care how much extra work it is. I don't care if it's raining. I want somebody to walk around the car and open my door when I get in. I want somebody to open the car door when I get out. I want somebody to open the door when I walk into a restaurant. And I think that I offer a man enough to want to do that. Like, and that's just me. So yeah, that's kind of what happened with Vaughn and I let y'all know at the beginning. Those are my 3 relationships that I had that failed and kind of why they failed. And that's pretty much it for this video, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the last few things I need to do with my makeup. I'm gonna speed that up. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys have any more, like I said, videos that you guys want me to do, go ahead and drop them down below. Next video, we're gonna talk about, this one fell, so I'm gonna just pick this one. Okay, so next time we're gonna talk about my first time in Miami. And yes, it says fight because y'all have to watch the video to find out. So yeah, the next video is gonna be about my first time in Miami. So if you guys wanna catch that story time, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button. Go ahead and leave me some comments down below. And I'm sorry if you guys wanted me to bash Vaughn and put all of our business out there, but that's not what I was gonna do. I wish Vaughn nothing but the best, and I'm so sorry that our relationship didn't work. Thank you guys for all your support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.